Hey guys, Alessio, hope you're well. Making a quick video for you about the stock markets. So let's take a look at this chart here of the major stock markets, the Dow, and what this potentially is telling us about the major markets and what could likely happen in the next several months of this year. How could this chart be a major warning for the stock markets? I'll explain in this video. Join me. All right guys, welcome back. I'm speaking to you today from this beautiful spot here in Forest Mere in England. So let's take a walk here and just talk about the major stock markets. Let me bring your attention now to this very important chart of the Dow. The Dow Jones Industrial Average that you see here has two lines, two rising trend lines as you see here. Now, one of these trend lines goes back to 2020, 2021 approximately there. So as you can see, that white line goes back to some years ago. The second line in yellow goes back several years to 2007. And by the way, I'm looking at a logarithmic chart. So guys, my view is quite simple. Watch those trend lines closely, because if the stock market, if the Dow were to drop, let's say in a major decline, and let's say the Dow went below those two lines I have there on my chart, that could be a very important early sign and clue that the stock market is potentially about to top. All right, guys? So those two lines, you can see it right there on the chart. At the moment, they're meeting about that level you see there on my screen. So that means if the Dow, if the major stock markets were to see a significant drop in the next several weeks and months, again, that's an if. I'm making this video so we can be prepared for it. Even if it doesn't happen, okay, so what? But the bottom line is, I think at some point this year in 2026, it could be maybe in the middle of this year, maybe towards the end of this year, I think the major stock markets, the Dow, at some point this year is likely to go below those two lines on my chart. Again, the long-term trend line going back to 2007 and the other trend line going back to 2021. By the way, in technical analysis, when the stock markets go above these trend lines, these rising trend lines, that's what's called a throwover. And typically a topping sign occurs or sign of danger occurs when the price goes back below those trend lines, below where the throwover or the breakout occurred. In other words, if the Dow at some point this year were to drop back below those trend lines, then that would confirm a false break of those trend lines, and therefore it would increase the likelihood and the risk of a top in the stock market, which again, I do think is going to happen at some point by the end of this year. It could happen in the middle of this year, but if it doesn't happen by the middle of this year, then potentially by the end. And by the way, guys, a lot of people out there honestly do not have any clue about this stuff. And most people, I think, will be caught by surprise. All right, guys, hope this video helps. If it has, give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And also, guys, join me in the member videos for more detailed analysis on the stock markets, gold, and Bitcoin. And if you're not a member, join that link you see right there. Thank you very much indeed. Bye.